Hi guys and gals, welcome back. July of 1938 coming up. Just a quick note, we are up to 18,000 views between all of our videos. Thank you watchers on YouTube. Also, thank you all you guys who are subscribing and liking our videos. We do appreciate it. This is going worldwide. We have viewers in India, Taiwan, the Philippines, Japan, across the Arabian states, Europe, and other places too. So thank you guys, we really appreciate it. July of 1938 kicking off, we've got Germany who now has mechanized infantry, so that's something to really keep in mind. And we're going to go ahead and get that started. This is the last round that Spain is going to be in here, so we're going to see what happens. Okay, ready? And go! Germany decided to pay on 5 of their battleship, moving them up to the next stage. They acquired a submarine, medium tank, mechanized infantry, and a regular infantry. This turn they did not lend-lease anything to nationalist Spain. And for our combat, everything that nationalist Spain they had, they threw at Murcia. That was 6 infantry, 4 light tanks, a cavalry, a fighter, and 2 artillery units. Now, it is a mountain territory in Murcia, so that was a -1 on nationalist Spain. The Republican Spain's had 4 infantry, a fighter, and a medium bomber. There is an air superiority in this particular round. Granted, nationalist Spain, as you can see, there's no more yellow on the board there, so they did take the Spanish Civil War is over, but the medium bomber hit on the Republican Spain, or the medium bomber was hit from Republican Spain, and the fighter from nationalist Spain was also taken out because that air superiority rule. Germany and Italy. You guys were both obtaining a victory point permanently for this, and that's for the fascists winning Spain. That is a victory point that cannot be taken away from you guys ever through the entire game. So the fascist command actually has 2 victory points now. Allies players and Russia, that's for you, so you have an idea where you're at. France, you're still up for that victory point, hoping that Russia doesn't come in and try to take over Spain again. Your victory point is still iffy. It's not permanent until it actually happens at the end of the game. With that, the 2 infantry from Austria had moved to Sudetenland, and it was annexed. Germany went up a point, obtained a minor factory and a light tank. Euro-Brits, global tension went up for a point on that. Our submarine that was in the Baltic is now sitting out here in the Atlantic. And for our placement, our infantry went to West Germany, mechanized, I can't read my own notes, that's awesome. The mechanized went to Stettin, and the submarine that we had purchased went back into the Baltic. Now guys, check this out. Right here. This is Stettin. Things are starting to get real. We're going to see a couple of different things like this, where things are really starting to get real here. So this is sitting in this little block right here, right next to West Poland. This is where that Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact comes into play, and we're going to look at that here coming up very soon. Russia and CCP China. CCP China was able to purchase an infantry for themselves and went to Communist China, and the infantry and artillery that Russia purchased went to Leningrad, and they purchased a militia that went to Kiev. CCP is staying put because of the looks of Manchuria, and Russia is going to continue moving all of their stuff to the west. And Japan and Manchuria. So last turn we saw some things get really real. We looked at where our fleets are sitting. Now the fun thing is that Japan had a cruiser up here. They paid enough to be able to move it to placement. They also picked up 2 more of their SNLF Marines and an infantry. And Manchuria purchased an armored car and an infantry. The Japanese army in Henan is going to attack Zhejiang. And the Manchuria army in Jehol went against Peking Warlord. So that's up here in this little cluster of stuff here. We don't have a black for Manchuria, which kind of sucks, but we understand. But we have that going on. America is now cutting all oil ties to Japan, and they go down a point for that. So they went from their 17 that they had down to 16. The Henan army consisted of 4 infantry, an artillery, a motorized infantry, and went up against a 1 militia. And the Japan obviously took that territory. They went up 2 points. So now they were sitting at 18 for that, and then KMT went down 2. Remember, KMT has that +1 bonus for the Burma Road being open, so they were actually sitting at 4. So now they're sitting at 2 points. In Manchuria, against the warlord, we had 2 cavalry and infantry, 4 Kwangtung army, 1 motorized, 1 Imperial Guard, 2 fighters, 2 tactical bombers. The warlord had 3 infantry at a +1 for city fortification. The Manchuria lost an infantry and a Kwangtung. They did not roll for wounded, so they are dead. They are not in the hospital. They are not coming back, and Manchuria either has to purchase them back or they're just not going to get them. So now Jehol has moved on to this Peking, and they have taken over Peking there. Our non-combat movement, Japan took their army in Nanking and moved it to Henan. And the hospital in Henan also went to Zhejiang. The Manchuria hospital in Jehol that they had is now here in Peking. And the infantry that they purchased, that Japan purchased in the SNLF, is in Tokyo. And the cruiser dropped over here on eastern Japan's border. Manchuria's infantry went to Jehol, and the armored car went to West Manchuria here. And all the remaining warlords are now aligning with KMT because of Manchuria's attack on the warlord. So all warlords are now KMT infantry. So that's something very important, and it also makes KMT go up +4. So now they're sitting at 6. So that's a little something to think about, Allies players. So now you're sitting at 6 for KMT. Your Burma Road is open. America has dropped all ties with Japan. This is really starting to teeter towards your benefit. So use that wisely as it's coming along. This particular round, we're not going to break off and do an intermission. We just went ahead and did the entire round because this round and probably the next 2 are just going to go like that, and they're going to fly through. So we're going to try to get a couple videos done today. So we are in the Euro Brits, the Pac Brits, and Anzac. So for Anzac, they have their transport that they moved. They're steadily moving back to Australia here. And they bought an artillery which got placed in Sydney. Our Pac Brits, remember that Burma Road is open. They purchased an artillery that went to KMT in Yunnan. And they purchased a militia that went to Calcutta. There was an artillery in Calcutta, and it's now in Bengal. Our Euro Brits, back to the other side of the board here. We purchased a tactical bomber and an infantry. There's no combat. The transports that were sitting in Gibraltar now have dropped off in Egypt. And our South Africa went to Rhodesia, and the Rhodesia unit went to Tanzania. Our placement of our infantry dropped in South Africa. Our tactical bomber is in London. And South Africa is going to continue to move northward so that we can get those units up to the Mediterranean coast. France, very simple. They had 6 IPPs. They moved their battleship and they were done. Italia's, they paid off the debt on their battleship and 3 on their cruiser, and they were done. So America and KMT to you guys. So we're going to jump over here to KMT. KMT had 5 IPPs on their belt. They bought an infantry, a militia, and they got their 2 wounded back from the warlord attack in Yunnan, trying to get that Burma Road open. America paid off their cruiser, and they bought 2 artillery, which they dropped in DC. There's no combat this turn. The KMT has decided that they're not going to take on any combat. They're just going to continue to build up. But there was a lot of movement. Now with KMT having all of these units from the warlords, they had to start moving stuff around and bringing them over to where Japan can actually have to be faced. So we had an artillery that was in Yunnan. It's now in Hunan. 3 infantry from Yunnan went to Sichuan. A mountaineer from Tibet to Yunnan. A cavalry in Tibet to Hunan. 3 infantry and cavalry from Zibei, Sanma to Shaanxi. And 2 infantry from Xinjiang to Sibei Sanma here. And the militia that they purchased went to Yunnan, and the infantry went to Taiwan. Now, guys, I know this round is kind of quick, everything is kind of fast moving and stuff like that, but that's the way the game is played. And so we really like these things, and trust me, yes, I am insane, and we're going to keep that going, but we're going to go ahead and let you know a few other things. At the end of this turn, once everybody has played their rounds, Poland got an extra infantry for global tension starting to build. So that went into Western Poland, and then now they have 4 sitting there next to West Germany, or East Stettin, I'm sorry, next to Stettin. And Manchuria got another infantry that went to J-Hole. And Japan can now start building Emoto class battleships. So these are like mutant battleships with really big dots that America is going to use as a target practice point. We know how this works. We know how World War II worked. So you have all of that going for you. Just remember, those Emoto battleships start at a 7 and they go in stage 4 before they can even be built up. But it's going to be kind of costly, but totally worth it in the end. We'll see you next round. Like it, live it, love it. You like what we're doing? Shoot us a comment below. Keep watching those videos. We'll see you guys on the next round. Thanks, guys.